Susanna and Puran Bear, welcome to the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast. It's a real pleasure to have you here. For those who are unfamiliar with your work, could you tell us what you do?
Oh, we have a school of meditation. This is an authentic school with a lineage. It goes way back, but we have a modern approach to it, which is to use the heart, uh, focus entirely on the heart. It's
Mm.
it's a very body-centered method. So no transcendence, more coming into the self.
Well,
Okay.
the thing about the heart is, or about heart rhythm meditation, is that when you really want to meditate, you have to have something that you can focus on. A meditation we find is very difficult and challenging when there is no focus. And in heart rhythm meditation, we use the heart to focus on it. And so when you do heart rhythm meditation, you have to actually move into your body because the physical heart is in the body. And some people have a very hard time finding the heart because they have worked all their lives on hiding their heart, hiding the emotions. And so this is actually the initial work in heart rhythm meditation, is to connect with your body and connect with your heart and with the heartbeat, literally. That gives you a rhythm. And rhythm in life has so often been completely lost through the hectic world that we live in. And so when you feel the rhythm of the heart, and then there's the rhythm of the breath there, then you already are in a different world inside of yourself. So that's the key to it, and it goes from there.
Amazing. So we will be experiencing this at the end of the interview. I'm looking forward to experiencing this heart meditation. I'm a big meditator myself, and every episode we have here ends with an affirmations meditation. So we're quite used to that on here. So tell us, what inspired? How did you find this? What inspired you to follow this path?
We found a teacher. We were very fortunate to find the same teacher, and so we met through that school. But the unusual thing is that this teacher asked us to start a new school,
Mm.
and that just isn't done. That's a very rare thing.
And tell us the
Yeah.
same school in the same discipline, or how, what exactly?
Well, it has the same lineage, but it's a different method. His method was sort of upward, up and out,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
and our method is down and in.
Okay.
We want to bring people into the heart, and especially, probably a lot of people in your audience have tried meditation, as you yourself teach, of course.
Mhm.
And sometimes, the instruction is to let go of the mind, turn the mind off. That's not possible.
Mm.
Not you shouldn't even try it. We don't want to turn anything off, and I think that's probably resonates with your audience. Don't turn anything off.
Mhm.
Turn on the heart.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's more like I came from clinical psychology, and clinical psychology is very interesting. Psychology actually means the science of the soul and all. And when you actually study clinical psychology, like I did in Vienna in the 70s, uh, it was all medical. You got for every kind of challenge or difficulties you have, you just get medication. And I was not very happy with that path. I didn't have the feeling that people found their soul or they found their happiness or they found their fulfillment. So I was like, that's not the path I want to go. And when I moved to America, and it's always, I actually studied meditation very early on. I did Zen Buddhist meditation from books, and I had then some did yoga and all these kinds of things. And what is very interesting about meditation, because I think it's a very solid art form, I would call it, is when you're really challenged in life, challenged to the core, then you know if your method works or not. And so when I moved to America and my English is not my first language, you can hear it with my accent. And when you are moving here pretty much alone and you don't have friends, you don't have family, your core belief system is tested. And that is when I looked for a teacher. I didn't have a meditation teacher before, and that's when I looked for a teacher. I was like, I really need to find something that really holds me, that really lets me explore and experience life in its fullest. With the deep questions to come to through confidence and know what life is about, where you come from and where you're going to, and what this life is about. And that's how the two of us met, through the same teacher. And he'd already told that we were asked to create a school, which creates an incredible challenge again. And that's when we went for the heart, because that's something very real. And at the same time, the heart is physical, energetic, and spiritual. This is where I actually find that those spiritual levels within that are there for each one of us, that I couldn't find in psychology. At that point, at least, psychology develops too, but I still think these spiritual levels and the physical levels, where you can really live fully, that is what we do in heart rhythm meditation.
So, what are the, tell us about your school. You have a physical school with classes, or is it online?
It's almost entirely online. We do have meetings occasionally in person, but it's all over the world, so we can't really get together that often. But we have courses that run from one day to several days to weeks to 2 years. We have a 2-year course. It's a real training in mysticism.
Oh,
We
wow.
call ourselves mystics because, well, the mystics are independent of religion. There have been mystics of every religion, every tradition, but the mystics are outside the orthodoxy. They're about direct experience. So we don't want to you know theorize. We want to experience.
Okay, amazing. I love that. Um, so, what are the benefits of this heart rhythm meditation?
Well, at the physical level, it's very good for the heart
Mm,
because you're actually putting attention on the physical heart. You listen listen, it means feel.
mm,
You feel the beat of the heart inside, and that changes the circulation pattern. The heart becomes more enriched with blood. The circulation in the heart is increased. And then the heart, because it is beating electrically, it generates a magnetic field. And so this field all around the body extends, fills the room. It has no boundary really. And so this allows people to begin to get the feeling of a larger self, which is very real because the heartbeat, which is in the body, extends to the field. The field is also pulsing with the heartbeat. And that means that the individuality of self, which is in that heartbeat, because a heartbeat is very particular, very individual, that extends into the field. So you can recognize a person at a distance because you see the pattern of the heartbeats in the field.
wow.
See,
Amazing.
so our school is not only, we developed this method over, I don't know, 40 years. So it's in the beginning, we really did the basic practice, which we will introduce you at the end of this session. But then what we learned is, as Puran mentions, that the heart is energetic. Um, we really use the rhythms of the heart. And the rhythm of the heart brings you into, how do you say, the daily life changes. So what he says, it's like there is this heart health that we create on the physical level, but then when you come to the emotional level, which, this is like a real big step in the meditation. Because when you come to the emotional level, people start experiencing the wounds of the heart,
Mm,
which is a very interesting place. We have not experienced or met a person that does not have wounds hidden in their heart. Some people are very aware of them, and that's why they come to this meditation. But not all people come because of their wounds. Some are not aware of them, and some of them have already healed them. But there's this step of the wound, and what is very interesting when you come to the wounds, at the same time, a great ideal shows in the people, where they want to go or who they are. So the ideal of the heart and the wounds of the heart come forward at the same time. And when the wounds are healed, more or less, because the wounds, they always give you an indicator. And this is why we look at the same time for pleasure in life, because the wounds, some people cannot forgive them, some people cannot forget them. But when you bring pleasure in and joy into life and also the sexuality, then people actually heal those wounds in an easier way. But there is another step, in our school, we teach sort of 9 steps of realizations that you go through. And we really trace this. We have a coaching and mentoring system, and we trace those steps that the people go through. And if they want to, there are different courses that they take. But then there's mentoring that holds them through the periods where they don't take courses, because people are in our school from anywhere, from a year, or maybe they just check into a daily course, or 10 or 30 years that they are in the school. They become teachers, mentors, and all. But there's this other step that I wanted to describe, when the heart moves from the emotional heart into the spiritual level.
Wow.
That's for people, and that's experiential, Venus. This is not something they can make up, because their meditation changes, the awareness of themselves changes, and the awareness of others, and of that what they call the all and the one. Practically, we believe in something what is called unity consciousness and the one being. And we urge our people, and this is not that they have to do certain ways, but the practice brings them to it, and their life experiences, their changes in their relationship, their changes in their attitude towards the self. Because the big question is who are we? Who is that human being that is here that has like an earthly experience? That is the big question in life. And how do you explore that? And through the practices and through the experiences with yourself and in the community, you come to bigger insights about that.
Amazing. The other day I had a reflection about love, and I was just thinking about the education system and everything that we learn. For example, we do have a limited sex education. People kind of learn where babies come from at school. But what about love? I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on this? We're not really taught about how to love, how to overcome these wounds, in terms of the school system. So I don't think people are very equipped to actually overcome these questions, and that's why people maybe come to you, because we don't learn that. And what are your thoughts on let's say love education? And also, when we think of love, it can mean many things, but I'd love to explore a little bit about romantic love and partnership, especially in a time of such loneliness that we are in now.
Love is basically our topic.
Uh-huh.
We refer sometimes to a poet named Hafiz, and he has a very famous poem where he says, "The topic for tonight is love," and we use that topic in relationships. I mean, we're very into relationships and making them lovely, useful, deep, and purposeful.
And we have this one particular practice where, because it has a lot to do with self-love, but it's a so-called spiritual practice. We teach self-love literally in the sense of what is your relationship to the self in terms of food, in terms of your looks, in terms of how do you satisfy yourself, through sex or through self-pleasure. We talk about those things, but then there is too the question, there's a lot of people have grown up in life without being loved. And we have these kind of terms in the school where is to become the beloved one and to become the lover, because those are two very different parts in love relationships. The beloved is the one who sort of is able to receive and really fully blossom in that. uh, it's really very interesting when men ask to become the beloved, because men in society or through education are the lovers. They are the doers. They are the active ones. They have to earn the money. They have to be out there in the world. That's the old-fashioned way of looking at it. But and the woman is the beloved. So in our school, we really try to learn that or teach and experience. These are spiritual practices where we say, we become the beloved one of God, or we become the beloved one of my lover. Uh, and then you switch it. I become the lover of God. And that is actually on the spiritual level where you start to serving others, depending on. So it's the romantic, you bring it into the romantic relationships, the two, and on a bigger level, you actually start serving others and see what is the need that others have and how can that be provided. And on the bigger level, on unity level, you look, for example, how can I serve through meditations, for example, to reduce crime in the world,
Oh, wow.
and bring more love into the world. And those are spiritual practices that are often practiced by a few people, but sometimes as a group. We have in Taiwan, we have a strong setting for whatever reason, as our books are translated into Chinese. And there we have a group, they really meditate on the harmony between Taiwan and China.
Oh,
That's
wow.
their meditation, to become the beloved ones of China, of mainland China, and they don't agree. This is a very interesting thing how the group, there's a lot of energy about that in there. And I think here in America, there's a lot of dissonances in this, but with the group there, this is very clear, the relationship between mainland China and Taiwan. So, and that's where the love relationship is on a meta level. And so I could give you a lot of examples there too, how the woman leader there has really transformed her relationship with her children in particular and with her husband. Those were her focus in the beginning years because she's a very powerful woman and she wanted to do stuff, and her kids were not the most important things until she realized, well, I better pay attention to them. And and she became a very loving mother in between all her different expressions of love. So love is a very, very big topic in our school. And so I can go on about it. I'm not sure if you want to ask other questions, but yeah.
I'm interested in kind of what I've been exploring as well is something about a couple meditation and how that can be very bonding, to actually share the same meditations. And do you have an experience of that with, obviously with your topic? I'm assuming it could be perfect having let's say a heart-led meditation
Yes.
for a couple.
Yes, we would encourage your viewers to try this out, to sit across from your partner. And so you're facing each other pretty close, not touching, but very close otherwise. And breathe out and imagine that you're sending love from your heart to the other person's heart. And then breathe in and draw the love from their heart into your heart. So it creates a bidirectional connection through breath. See, in meditation, breath is the power. I mean, there's always imagination and visualization and thoughts, but there's no power there. The power is in the emotion. And so meditation always uses breath. And we use the breath to move energy. So, in particular, with the heart, we're moving the energy of the heart and giving the heart away as you breathe out, and accepting the heart of the other person as your own as you breathe in. It creates a very close bonding and energetic connection. And it starts like that, and it goes further. But this is a very easy to do meditation, just and you don't have to be in sync with the breath. That's a further step, but you just every time you breathe out, you're sending. Every time you breathe in, you're receiving. And a bidirectional link develops.
Amazing.
and
Would you hold hands at that point? Maybe that's to kind of
You
increase that
could,
connection.
yes. People
Mm,
people often do, and also you don't have to hold hands. You can go like this, you see, with one
mm,
hand above the other,
mm,
and both hands doing that, and then you feel the energy that moves from the upper hand to the lower hand. So you have one hand up and one hand down, and the partner has the opposite,
mm,
So I'm always sending energy down to her hand and receiving energy from her hand on the left side. And so then you experience these two sides of the heart, that the heart has the left side of receptivity and the right side of power. And this correlates to the lover and beloved uh,
it looks
amazing.
like that.
tonality. Yeah, it looks like
So
this.
would you always have, let's say, Susanna, you would always have your right hand raised? Is that always
Well,
that way?
it's
Or
both hands. You can do
so the
this
right, sorry, the right hand,
practice
the palm
touching.
down. Is it always with the right
That's
hand
right.
palm down? Is
Yeah.
that correct? Yeah.
Exactly. The
And then
right
left
hand is
hand
palm
palm up.
down and the left
Okay.
hand is palm up for
Okay.
both people. See, for
Okay.
both people. And then
Mm,
you slide into each other there. And the distance doesn't have to be very great. You can feel the energy moving from one hand to the other.
wow.
And it's a wonderful thing to notice. Am I better at sending energy or am I better at receiving energy?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Because we do specialize. And so you notice that, and then you think, okay, I'd like to develop the other side of that. I'd like to be both lover and beloved. I'd
Mm,
like to be receptive to you and be very generous in giving my heart to you.
mm, mm,
And this has of course to do too with the energy centers, right? The
mm,
chakras. And so we see the heart center as the golden center, and this is the
mm,
vast center. It actually holds all the other chakras. So when you do this practice, you actually energize the first center, the second center especially. And so people describe that they get energetically aroused in the
mm,
sexual center, and depending with whom you do the practice can go further into more intimacy and more closeness. And there is to this practice when you sit, holding hands energetically, so to say. And believe it or not, the practice is more powerful when you don't touch the hands.
oh, amazing. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, when you touch the hands, you sort of,
You're closing the gap, maybe, and then
that's right.
the,
Well,
so it's more
there's the one is
expansive.
there's
Mm,
electricity there, and then the other one is energy there, right?
Magnetism.
Magnetism. And
wow.
magnetism is more powerful than this is electric.
Uh-huh.
And when you are not touching, it's a magnetism. And that is more powerful. And you feel that. It's much more transformative and healing. And that gives you space lots of times in relationships to talk with each other, what
Mm,
your feelings are and
mm,
what comes up inside of you. If you want to go further, or if you don't want to go further into intimacy, what is there between the hearts, that needs to be communicated. And sometimes there's nothing that communicates and one just wants to move further. And if you are working with somebody that you are just, how do you say, not want to move to an intimate place, then you just bow to each other and experience it. But there is a very, very deep exchange happening. People explore this and report this continuously. This is a very, very simple couples practice or with a friend. It
mm,
doesn't have to be going towards a
mm.
sexuality, but it's a very good beginning for sexuality.
But we teach this to business people. We teach
Oh,
Yeah,
this
wow.
to people that have to have relationships in business. They don't have to
yeah.
Yeah.
be, you know, because it's a way of understanding each other deeply. And
Mm,
then the meditation goes further. We build it into something called resonance, where you actually, when you're receiving the other person's heart, it really becomes the feeling that that heart becomes mine. And
Mhm.
okay.
now I have a whole different feeling about who I am. I have a self which is generated by that heart.
Mm,
So now I feel my body differently. I feel it feels like your body. I feel my mind is like your mind. And so I actually feel in myself all the things which the other person feels. We use this in diagnosis, in healing, because sometimes the other person can't tell you what's wrong. Like in therapy, people always have their stories, but that's not their answer. That's not the real thing. The story hides the problem, actually. So you want to experience the other person from the inside, not from the outside, not by observation, but by inner experience.
Is it
Yeah,
something you can do long distance, would you say? Is it something that happens?
Yes,
Yeah.
in fact, we do teach them because we do a lot of healing long distance.
Oh, wow.
there
What
is
kind of healing do you do?
yeah. There is a practice, that comes out of this practice, and we do this long distance a lot. It's called darshan. It's like seeing with the heart. And so people come often to just, they feel stuck in a certain kind of situation or in a development, self-development, or with others. And they just want to have a meeting and see, where am I stuck and why am I stuck and how do I move forward? And so that's the practice, but we use it often without the palms, right? Because you're long distance, but energetically we pick up the person and experience their whole being as much as one can. And that depends too on one's self-development. How much can I receive another into my heart?
To love another, you have to start by loving yourself, of course. So
big message, absolutely.
If you don't have that ability to love yourself, then you don't have that openness to love the other and to let them in.
Yeah.
But the feeling of letting another person into yourself is just exquisite.
Yeah.
And it really leads to an ecstatic experience.
I think that's something I'd like to expand on a little bit, because I think a lot of people are now feeling quite disconnected. All these screens and apps, etc. It's helping us to communicate more potentially, because I mean, we're having this conversation thanks to technology, but also I think people have much higher demands or expectations about what a partner is supposed to, what needs they're supposed to fulfill. And then when they experience a challenge, they kind of maybe shut down. How can we connect more with the people we love, and what's the role of self-love? I mean, how can self-love become love for another?
Oh.
That's where it starts.
But for so many people who do, so many people who, so to say, have self-love, actually don't know how to love yourself. And Venus, I have to tell you, one hears that in the voice, and I can hear it in your voice. I say this now openly, how much you love yourself.
Sorry, what did you say? What did you hear in my voice?
How much you love yourself.
Oh, thank you. I'm really working on it.
I can really hear this, and you can hear this with other people. And I'm not sure if you can hear this in other voices, because the voice is actually like a feedback system of the heart, or of the emotional heart. How open, how receptive, and how ready one is to receive others. And when people just live up here, their voices are very stuck up. This morning, I had to pick up something, and I had the radio on, and the woman was talking about, I don't know, nature. It was the news. And she was talking in this lovely voice, and gave information about it. Can you see what I'm doing? And that is when the voice is completely cut off from the body, from the heart, from the emotion. And so when I work with people, I listen to them and I see, how can I help you to move into your body? And I listen to the voice, and how much, when I give them practices and I hear them again, where are the changes? What opened? Because when you say to people, forgive, they're like, really?
No
They should
way. They were
they
wrong.
should go the other way,
Yeah.
So this is a very subtle thing to open the heart and come to self-love and let oneself move into this. And it's very hard how to give like a single answer to that on how this development
But there is this experience called the opening of the heart.
Yeah.
And when it happens, there's an opening into the body. I mean, you connect with yourself in a very deep, like the deep heart, the heart where you feel the great emotions, not just the ones that are caused by circumstance or somebody smiles at you and you feel happy. No, there are emotions which are there all the time, you know,
Wow.
and you access those in the deep heart, and it gives well, it gives a real sense of self.
Mm.
Mhm.
Well, I've been going through some kind of big stuff with self-concept and self-love. That's been actually my challenge. I mean, I think there's I actually have this course now that I'm creating called The Eight Pillars of Self-Love, and part of it is
Mm.
self-care. Like, having a massage, that can be, but some people just limit self-love to being those things, but it's much bigger. It's about self-compassion, it's about self-expression, all these other elements. And that's been one of my big challenges. Sometimes I have a pattern of putting people on pedestals and assuming that I'm here and they're there, you know? It's just this pattern. And I've been now recently I've been kind of allowing those pedestals to crumble and seeing that they weren't so high and I wasn't so low. That sounds really crazy, maybe. I'm just slowly starting to, expand. And I'm been studying Kabbalah, so I've been this concept of expanding the vessel is something I'm working on right now. So it's kind of expanding my container to receive blessings, and yeah, and I'm just really craving love, which maybe sounds like a lack thing to say, but I think it starts with seeing my own worthiness of receiving it, and knowing that I can give it as well. Do you have any advice for me?
Well,
Um,
first of all,
um,
instead of crumbling that pillar that the other people are on,
yeah,
it'd be better for you to lift yourself to that
yeah.
level, you know,
But I
because
think I mentioned the crumbling of pedestals because the pedestals I put them on were not real. That's what I'm trying to say, because maybe I was there was lots of illusions there. When someone gives the idea of they're very successful, and in fact it's just not true. It's just the confidence they have. There's no substance. So that's what I meant about those types of
yeah,
things. So
well, it's true. We want to be real and
mm,
not fake. But our practice is to look for the divine in every heart
mm,
all the time. Look for the divine, and people are always putting themselves down,
mm,
and so you look at another person and you think, what a great being you are. In what
mm,
way? Now, in what way are you great? I'm thinking, and of course you see intelligence and you see love, but try to get more specific. Like, what is it that I admire so much about you? And because if I can see that and really identify it, I can find it in myself.
mm,
So the first step is the mirror. There's a phrase from William Shakespeare in Julius Caesar. He
mm,
says, "You can't see yourself as clearly as I can see you. So let me be your mirror and let me show you how great you are by identifying what it is in you that I love so much."
mm, mm,
And when somebody does that to you, you catch it. You say, "Oh, you see that in me. I get maybe I can then find it in myself."
mm,
And so this is a principle of the tradition that we follow, which is you use the mirror of the heart of the other person to see yourself.
mm,
And it works because the other person is actively seeing that in you. And so then you can see what they see.
Mm.
mm.
Like when I started out, I was in a very miserable state when I was meeting my teacher. And he asked me, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want to die. Not
Wow.
physically, in every other way." And
Mm,
he said, "Well, but I think you're such a wonderful man." And I thought, wow, you you can see. I know you're a sage. You can see. If you can see what I don't know, what I don't feel about myself, I'd like to know how you see me. I'd like to see me the way you see me. And this is what I mean by the mirror. It's a wonderful transformation.
It's really interesting that you say that, because I think people look down upon things like, external validation, whereas that it can be a very positive thing when someone sees your light. And I've had that experience because I went through a lot of personal challenges in the last year. And then I published a book in Spanish and I got a lot of media attention, and it was just amazing to have, other people and media outlets see in me something I wasn't seeing in myself. And I kind of allowed that to kind of reconstruct my self-worth and self-esteem. And it wasn't coming from within, it was just maybe from from a mirror. If they think I'm important, then maybe I am. It was that kind of energy, and that can be, looked down upon in certain, communities or modalities when you're seeking external validation. Mm.
But another way to work is when one sees something that one really admires, try to find them in oneself and give it away.
Mm.
To give away what you desire. And the
Okay.
wonderful thing is that it is actually in oneself. Like if I do not know what it is, I personally don't know in the moment what I would desire. But if, with some women, they really look for good looks or something, I think to give it away, see it in others, and really appreciate it in others instead of feeling limited by that. So it's this very simple way, give away what you would like to receive. Because, energetically, we live in a dome, and what you give comes back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a very interesting energetic system that happens if one is aware of it. To give away things, be very generous with what you want to receive.
If you want love, give love.
Yeah.
If you want respect, give respect.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Love that.
It sounds simple, but it really, really works. So,
okay, shall we do a meditation then? Shall we do one of your meditations?
okay. Am I the meditation teacher? Yeah.
So let's guide our listeners to get comfortable.
Yeah.
Don't stop driving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult to do meditation while you drive, but so we have, like in all meditations, there is a posture. Our posture in meditation is very simple. We sit either in chairs and have an upright posture. Our feet are on the ground, and we try to feel the spine being very upright, because the spine is actually a great, great energy carrier, especially for the nervous system. And we also feel that the shoulders are open so that your heart is exposed. So these are a few cues for heart rhythm meditation. And then it's very helpful to take an intention, what this meditation will be about, and try to, if you want to meditate for 3 minutes, then try to stay with 3 minutes. If you want to meditate for 10 minutes, try to stay with 10 minutes. Don't overtax yourself with meditating too long if you are not a meditator. So, and if you feel comfortable, you close your eyes. But if you don't feel comfortable with closing your eyes, you can look around in the room and feel supported by the space that you're sitting in. You can even look at an object and see how that object you have chosen, and these are the support system that you have around you. So when you close then your eyes, you have the feeling you're sitting in a safe space that is supporting you. And that is when you take that time to become aware that you're breathing, that this air is passing in and out through your nose, and it's very little, that air, but it is there in a rhythm. Inhalation, exhalation. Inhalation, exhalation. And because you're now aware of your breath, it actually makes a very big difference. And breath is the thing in life that we actually can change. We can make our exhalation more deep. And we do this with the help of our abdominal muscles, the muscles below our belly button. We squeeze them tightly, and thereby all the breath, all the energy moves out of us. And when the inhalation comes, we open the abdominal muscle, make them really vast, wide like a balloon. And then you alternate this movement of inhalation, exhalation, and by engaging the abdominal muscles, your breath becomes very slow, full, and deep. So you really practice first this breath of slow, full, and deep with the help of the abdominal muscles. And through this slow, deep, full breathing, maybe the heartbeat or the pulse comes into existence, into your awareness. And you might experience that the rhythm of your heart is very steady, but it is much faster than your slow, deep, full breath. And there we can synchronize, we can align the heartbeat and the breath. And you can look for how many heartbeats do I inhale and for how many heartbeats do I exhale. So for some of us, it might be challenging to feel or experience our physical heart. So you might want to put your hand, your palm on your chest area and really look for that internal signal of the heartbeat, or you can use your other palm and put it on the wrist and look for the pulse. And so for some of us, it's easy to move into this kind of practice of aligning breath and heart and really feel the internal rhythms, and they help us to focus, to concentrate. And when that becomes easy for us, we just can move this energy, the breath, through our heart in very easy ways. And we can listen to our heart. What does our heart want to tell us today, this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening? The heart speaks. The heart wants to be heard. And we sit quietly, breathing deeply, and listening to the heart's message. And these are the beginnings of heart rhythm meditation. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Mm.
So do you have recordings that people can do at home? Do you have recordings on your website?
Yes, if you go to our website, it's IAM
Mm.
HEART, heart, IAMHeart.org
Mm-hmm.
/gift. And you'll see a series of free things. One is a link to our app. We're an unusual meditation school because we have an app, and this app has hundreds of free meditations on it. We also have research that's available where we've done peer-reviewed research about this method. And we have daily meditations that are free with a live teacher where you can ask questions and experience the meditation, live. It's online, live. And then we have courses as well. So, and books in many languages. And the third book, interestingly, is about the labyrinth and the way the labyrinth is a code for the path of life. So we have lots of resources. They're all on that page there.
Amazing. I'll be checking that out for sure. Speaking of books, a question I ask all of my guests: what's the book that changed your life for each of you? Is there a book that changed your life?
Ooh. It's a big question, Venus.
I know I'm a big reader as well as a meditator, and I have a whole
Yes.
shelf here with all books of my guests who've been on. There's lots of authors
Really?
who've been on this podcast, so I just love reading and then interviewing people, and I'm always into spirituality, personal development, sacred sexuality. I'm always reading these topics.
See, we talk about 9 steps in the spiritual path. So at each step, your life is changing. You say there's a book for each step,
Okay.
And we met the same teacher. So his books, his name is Pir Belayat, and his books were very transformative for us. But I think really the book now that's changed my life the most is the book I wrote with Susanna, because you go through so much, and as you know, when you write a book, you go through so much, and you learn more than anybody who's reading it by writing it.
You have a couple of books though. Which one are you referring to? Which is the life-changing one?
To follow your heart.
The third book, it's called Follow Your Heart.
Okay.
It's about the labyrinth and how that gives you a clue for what this path of life is like. Everybody's going through steps in the same steps. It's just we have our own timing, but we all go through the same steps. I mean, you can see it in child development, where a child always walks before they talk. So what's adult development like? And the path of adult development has been traced by psychologists, but the mystics have gone much further in much more detail. So that's what our book is about, the path of life to mysticism.
Follow your heart. Well, if I should share, I have recently, I think in the last few months, I have actually worked on the books. Our teacher, he had a father who is really the Hazrat Inayat Khan, who is the teacher whose method and teachings we use a lot. And so I actually am not speaking about his books, but I speak about the books that have been written about him. In particular, I researched the wives or the women around the teacher, which is a very, very interesting topic. His wife, who was American, and then he had some students, some very, very close students who made his life work. 4 women in particular. One of them bought him a great mansion. The other one created a trust fund for the whole lineage where the teachers can live from. And then there is a woman who was his consort whom he traveled with. And then there was a woman who, then there are his 2 daughters, that are very different from his 2 sons. The one, Noornisa Inayat Khan, she was an incredible writer, poet, but what she really is famous for, that she worked as a spy in the Second World War and actually was killed. There's movies have been made about her and
the Spy Princess.
The Spy Princess. And then his other daughter, who was the youngest in the family, her father had died when she was only 8, and her mother had died. And she was only 28, 30 years old when she decided to visit America, because they lived in France and in England. And she actually had an affair with somebody and had a child. And the man never knew anything that she had a child. And she had to she was in the 20s, a single woman, which I think was an incredible thing, where that kind of thing was full of shame and, and so this was very interesting to know the background of the females around the spiritual teacher, which Puran and I have very much changed in our school. And
because we teach together.
We teach together. not only that, but two, we allow and foster a different kind of morality, spirituality, sexuality than in the olden days was. Although the teachings of our teacher are incredibly valuable. These 9 steps of realization that we talk about, or this how rhythm meditation works, is based on those teachings. So to me, it's a very interesting thing to see powerful men. Hazrat Inayat Khan was an award-winning musician when he came to Europe and America, and he had to change into a spiritual teacher, which is not an easy thing to do. And his teachings are worldwide known, and we picked them up and brought them out in a certain way and transformed a different kind of organization and a different message that comes through. So I think that's an incredible thing. So, and I did this out of intuition because I wanted to know what kind of woman am I as a spiritual teacher, and how does that change, do you see, in today's day and age, and whether women like, and there's a lot to that topic.
Definitely.
A lot of food for thought.
Definitely. Yeah. I could go on for a long time with you. It's a so do you have a quote or affirmation that you live by? That's another question I ask everyone.
I want to have a greater effect on the world than the world has on me.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have it written down somewhere? Do you have it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think about it all the time.
Okay. Amazing. What about you, Susanna? Anything that comes to mind?
Um, what I am fascinated with is how one's prayers are being heard, and how being heard changes the response. I don't know if I say this in the right way, because sometimes, this is my very own thing on how do I move internally through change, and that is through being heard. And when I know I'm being heard, then my response needs to change. It's a communication. Prayer is actually a communication rather than just I pray, 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 and things should happen. Do you see what I mean? It's the communicative part of prayer.
And do you think the communication or the receiving is like intuition and things like that come to mind when
No,
how our
it's more
prayers
like,
heard?
I have a certain wish to change. And so I put this into what I would call a prayer, communicating with the one, communicating with the universe, with the invisible. And then I can really feel that experientially. I'm being received, I'm being heard. And then I need to change. I cannot move back to my old behavior patterns.
You have to change in
Because
order
you,
to receive what you've asked for?
Yes, I
Yeah,
have
okay.
been heard. My prayer has been heard. So now I have to act accordingly. I
Okay.
cannot move back to whining or this doesn't work or that. No, I have been heard. And I have to
Okay.
feel the powers. I have to feel my confidence. And we call this in the terms of the wounds of the heart, having a leaking heart. I'm not hearing it. I'm not receiving it. No, I have received it, and let me act accordingly.
That's very
So this
empowering.
is my prayers have been heard, Susanna. That is my affirmation.
Okay, I love that. So where can people find you? So we have a
Well,
website on here on the screen for those who are watching the video. So it's
yeah,
your
that's the
website
best
is.
way. And the app is called Breath and Heart. It's in the App Store, and it also has a feature in it where it gives you a little beep every time your heart beats.
Oh,
So that
wow.
so that makes it easier to feel this rhythm between your breath and your heart. Like if you can't feel your heart, then what do? Well, you use this little app and it gives you a beep every time your heart beeps, and but you can hear it, you see, and then you coordinate your breath with that. The idea is to synchronize breath and heart to create integration of
So you're
self
putting your finger
integration.
on your phone for it to read your finger. Is that correct?
That's right.
Mhm.
Okay, I love that. I love biofeedback. It's such a big thing now, and I think it's amazing how we
Mm.
use
Mhm.
technology for these purposes, like spiritual purposes. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And you're on Instagram as well. I think I'm following you on Instagram.
Yes.
What's your handle?
Um, I don't know.
Your
Um,
Instagram.
heart meditation, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
We are not running our
Okay, I love
Instagram.
that.
We are
We have a staff.
we have a
Okay,
staff, right?
fantastic. Amazing,
It's
amazing.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We've really enjoyed talking with you because you're such an interesting person. You know, you have this width and scope to your thinking through very intellectual ideas, but also very sensual and physical experiences.
yeah,
It's really a pleasure to speak with you.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. I'm very, very grateful for that. Very
I
grateful.
think you have a lot of courage, Venus.
You think
And I
so?
think that's
Doing this subtopic.
well, I think the world needs it really today. And I think you're handling it very well.
Mm,
I'm also admiring you for kind of an intellectual you are while you go with this sensuality and sexuality, which I think is very important. And I think by you having this,
Great mix.
yeah, this
mm,
spirituality and intellectual side to yourself, you bring a lot of respect to sexuality. And I think sexuality is really the core of all the violence in this world,
mm.
which we really forget. I mean, the violence that is out there is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so for you standing up as a Venus and as an Aphrodite and as a
Yeah.
goddess is just fantastic.
It's all about love. It's all about love at the end of the day. But I also believe that I didn't choose this path. It kind of everything put me in a situation where it was the best path, which sounds very crazy. But I used to work in luxury real estate. So in
You fit there
2007,
very well.
2009, the worst time. And then I just thought, you know what, I'm going to start a website because I didn't sell anything. It was just, I was in a very desperate time where I couldn't even eat. And I was in luxury apartments, but I had an empty refrigerator. And the universe pushed me. I'm from a very Catholic family. So it was a huge risk. But
That's what I mean.
yeah, it was a huge risk. And also, I have to navigate censorship all the time. So, and I'm also very private about certain things in my life. So I'm always navigating. And I had a spiritual awakening in 2017. So that really transformed my content because before that time, I was really focused on pleasure, so female pleasure, because I've designed many sex toys. I'm kind of like a pleasure educator. And I thought that was the top part of sexuality. But then I discovered the book that changed my life, which was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And there's a chapter in there called The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. And it talks about
Mm.
how people who are very successful know how to leverage and harness their sexual energy, not for always having sex. It's more about the channeling, the transmutation of this energy towards different goals. So I've just thought, wow, this is so interesting. So I'm very interested in the non-sexual application of sexual energy, which is for most people is not very interesting because it's not about instant gratification. It's the opposite. It's about something unspoken, and that's why sex is taboo because it has this huge power, you know? So I think people assume that power is, or that liberation is promiscuity, which is not. It's that's taken away. That's an energy leak. I believe. Not to judge anyone, but it's just I don't think that's the most empowering way to express this energy. So that's kind of
Mhm.
my mission.
Yeah. So see, our meditation is about energy.
Mm,
And so with this energy that that we get going with our through our hearts, we can have these ecstatic experiences. It's
Mhm.
really wonderful. It's kind of like sex, but
okay, I
See,
would love to experience
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. See, our motto is to make love, but not only on the physical level, but on energetic level, emotional level, spiritual level, just the way
Mm,
how you talk with each other, how you interact. The
mm,
lovemaking can happen on all levels. I think that's really the idea in life and in relationships. And
amazing.
I mean, because I mean, you must know this. does lovemaking mean in German? I mean, I know you're a translator of different, especially those kinds of words. In German, which is my other language, we don't have a good word for that. I remember, my first husband was American and he spoke perfectly German. So, and then he would say, let's make love. And I said, does this lovemaking only refer to intercourse? He said, yes. I said, wow, one could really put it on all levels, couldn't we? So,
Okay.
right? Isn't that a wonderful idea?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I'm designing a course now about the art of transcendental sex. I'm thinking about, how to feel the love, even if you're not in love with the other person. Just you can kind of see the love in them, like just similar to how you
That's it. That's
described
it.
earlier.
That's
Yeah.
lovemaking.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even just through
Good.
soul gazing, looking through someone's
Yeah.
eyes.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an
Mm.
incredible power to make love
Yeah.
and to make that happen in everyday life, like in a podcast. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
If you have a
Definitely.
spiritual path that goes with that kind of idea, it's really wonderful. Because a lot of spiritual paths actually negate that kind of thinking,
Right.
Absolutely.
like
Mm.
like discarding the body. Well, who wants to do that, But
Mm.
that's the traditional method,
Yeah.
Mm.
not our method.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been illuminating.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Thanks
to
for
meet
having.
you. Say hello.